Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Bars Closing. My name is Jim Cagnina with NinjaTrader. It is Monday afternoon, April 4th, 2022. How time flies. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Appreciate everybody being here. Level 2 trading was the first to chime in today. Just thought that's worth a shout out right from the start. Thanks for being here, everybody. Before we go too far, I do want to remind everybody, trading futures, options on futures involves substantial risk of loss, not suitable for all traders and investors. Oftentimes in futures trading, you have a high combination of leverage and volatility, and although that can be an equation for opportunity, also an equation for risk, so be careful. Only fund your future trading account with risk capital. Everybody's unique and different in this world. We understand that, at least I do. So my personal definition, money I can afford to lose doesn't change my lifestyle, lengthen my retirement horizon, or overly stress me out. Stress is a big deal. We make bad decisions when we're under stress. So be patient, be in a good place, trading on a real-time simulated live NinjaTrader trading platform today. And none of this should be construed as trader investment advice. Appreciate your participation in the Yahoo chat. And thanks for being here. Wow. All right. E-mini S&P, low volume. Let's start with that. We'll look at this. This is a 10-minute chart, and I have another trade idea percolating I want to show you in a second. But S&P 500, we're rallying again on the close, and it's been a very interesting structure today. Point of control, 45.61. So we're only 10 handles away from the point of control, which is relatively tight. And even more interestingly enough, the bottom of the value area is all the way down here at 44. So the point of control is skewed up. There's no real dominant point. There's a couple of competing point of controls, I should say, 64.75, and then again right here at 55. So this is not a very good bell-shaped curve, normal distribution. This is a jiggity jaggedy. I'm going to call it jiggity jaggedy. But buyers are in here pretty strong right now. 771,000. Probably the lowest volume day I could remember in the last several weeks that we've been together. It's very kind of astounding. But in any event, there it is. It's there for us to see, and we will keep our eyes on this. The trade I wanted to show you, though, I just made it. I don't know. This was a trade idea. This is U.S. 30-year Treasury bonds. I saw this trade idea at about somewhere between 2:50 and 3 o'clock bar. Let me kind of show you. That's my entry right there, pretty much where we're at right now. That's the candle where we're at right now. And the reason I did it, I saw the fib line and I was about to adjust the fib line, and I was like, well, wait a second. I don't want to adjust the fib line. This is the original fib line we had from this morning. And usually I drag it down to the lows and kind of mess around with it. But in this case, I noticed this 161.8% target down here. And I thought, what else is going on in this chart? Well, let's take a look. I drew this rectangle here, which was an early area of support. I extended it, and look what happened. From 12 o'clock, basically, all the way until we broke on through, this area held. This was where I'm kind of wiggling my crosshairs now. This was an area of support for a long period of time. We broke through it. At that point, right at the after we have confirmation, this bar closed, they have confirmation. That's when I decided to go ahead and sell a unit right at the low, the original low inside that rectangle. And so we'll see how that works. I'm literally have a target here, and my target should be aligned up with the previous day's bottom of the value area right there, 22. And that's exactly where it's lined up at. So this is my thinking. We'll see what happens here. Right now we got a few ticks into it. And then my stop is pretty far away from my entry, and I'm going to go ahead and trail this down to the point of control, and then we'll keep trailing it down as this thing percolates a little bit further. If you're really nervous about it, you could even bring it all the way down to break even at this point. Remember, these are $31.25 ticks. So we'll see what happens, see if it's a good trade today or not. But I just felt the breakthrough is powerful enough to merit continuation selling, and we'll see if that is actually the case. So that was U.S. Treasury bonds. Again, you guys know that I'm a little bit bearish here for sure. We had a trade this morning as well in U.S. Treasury bonds. So we're going to keep our eyes on that market. Going back to the ES now, it's 320. We're on this last 10-minute candle. Let me be patient a little bit to see what happens here. I could draw a rectangle on the top, and I'm going to. Low volume day, though, I'm going to write this down in my notepad tonight, because I want to see how does that affect this end of day. Are we going to have, profit taking come in? Are we going to shoot back down? I don't know. The point of control is pretty high though, which is a nice target right now for sure. But in any event, we'll keep an eye on this. Let's take a look at some of the other stock index futures really quick. The NASDAQ, same systematic behavior. Buyers are coming in all the way to the bitter end. I don't know what this means. I don't know if this is news cycle driven or not, but it is pretty strong there. It's pretty strong. Where buyers are coming all the way in. We've seen it so many times in the last 2 weeks where buyers don't stop until the bell rings. But then a couple of days they threw us curveballs, remember? And then we did get retracements back down to 23.6%. So I'm totally nervous. I'm not sure. We're going to be, when you're nervous and you're not sure, then be patient and wait and see what kind of shakes out of the trees. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But again, we have 10 more minutes before we are in last call here for regular trading hours. Dow Jones looking really similar to the ES, right? Really similar to the ES. The top of the value area is pretty similar in proportion. The point of control is also 23.6% right there. So you have 3 areas of interest right there. CCI is really not doing much. So we're going to kind of, actually, we should look at the CCI and the other 2 as well. I'm going to open this up, extend this a little bit. And I don't know. I could draw a bunch of different trend lines. This one's no good anymore, so I'm going to delete it. This one's no good anymore, so I'm going to delete it. And let's just go back to my drawing tool, and we'll go ahead and we'll pop in a line. That's all. And I'm going to just kind of go bottom to bottom, draw it out. Long way to go before we get there. Top to, oops, sorry about that. We got to do it again. Line. I should probably memorize. Really, it's F2. It's F2, Jim. It's not that hard to memorize. Fibonacci's F8. So now we're looking at another trend line. So let's keep an eye on that, the CCI, as it goes into the end of the day here, and see if we get any velocity one way or the other. Moving average cross looks like it's parallel right now. RTY looking pretty strong also, but the point of control is relatively lower here, which is expected, right? Russell's weaker than the other ones. I think up here is a competing point of control right where we're at, which is kind of interesting. A lot of volume up there, a lot of volume down here. Low volume day across all the stock index futures though. So keep that in mind as well. Crude oil railing into the close again in crude oil. Typically these last several sessions, we haven't really jumped into crude oil at the end of the day, only because we get these baby candles and it's not lending itself to any kind of distance right now. So we're going to stay out of it. If you were looking at the bigger crude oil, you might get some fruit out of it. But right now, again, I just think we see consolidation and that's kind of the end of it. Gold, different story. Right at the point of control, we really had, if you ignore the data from before 3 o'clock this morning, you get a really nice normal distribution on the volume profile, really nice normal distribution on the volume. And sure enough, we're settling right there on the point of control. So this is kind of a tough place to try to figure out, do I want to go long or do I want to go short? Because your areas of interest are pretty far away. Moving average cross is kind of moving sideways here. CCI, Commodity Channel Index. Bond trade, what happened to my bond trade? All right, so bond trade was successful, actually. It looks like we got filled. You can see the little caret there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the stop. So we're done with that, right? All right, so we kind of cruised through all the ones I want to talk about. Let's do this before we go too much further today. Let's go ahead and do a really quick 30-second break, and then we will get back right into it and prepare for our last call.
The path ahead is full of potential. From here, you can see where many have gone before. In trading, the right tools can mean the difference between failure and victory. The first step of this journey is not only brave, but necessary for success. Take control of your financial destiny with NinjaTrader. Start your futures trading journey with a free demo account and live market data at NinjaTrader.com.
All right, I am officially back. I don't know if I was officially gone, but I'm back. All right, everybody, thanks for Paul. Good to see you. Chuck is in the house. Chuck, good to see you here for sure. Tim, Robin, Mom and Dad Cags, always good to see you, of course. My mom and dad. David, Hans, good afternoon, or I should say good evening to you. M. Bartlett, Anisha, Lakana, good to see you. Brian Kennedy, thanks for being here. Andrew, we got, and the scroll goes on and on, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Carson is here. Francisco, if I missed your name, I apologize. Kaz, I think I already caught you on the up scroll right here. Again, Tracy, hello. Thank you for being here. All right. Again, we have buyers coming. Let's kind of magnify this S&P chart, and then we'll look over to the micro NASDAQ in a second. I'm going to magnify this so we could, kind of ask ourselves, what's reasonable here? What's not reasonable here? With respect to, what do? We got 4 more minutes for the next, 4 more minutes for the next candle to start populating our charts. And right now we see a rectangle that I put up there, right? We try to get in here once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And the 5th time, we're still trying. I'm not going to adjust my rectangle, right? A rectangle just kind of gives me a visual clue for where short-term resistance is. And it's right here at the top, and it makes sense. However, look at all of these higher highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 higher highs in a row. Higher lows, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, this is a bearish pattern, period. On the downside, I wouldn't even know where to draw a rectangle. I think you'd have to give yourself some room on the downside to try to figure out, is there any area of support? And I guess I would do something like this. I mean, I'm not too crazy about it, but it does kind of highlight the fact that the top of the value area is 67.75, which is good for sure. VWAP is pretty positive. And CCI, there's no real, I don't know how I would draw. I could try to draw a trend line on the CCI, but this is not going to be very eloquent. Okay, there we go. I mean, that's the best I could do from a trend line point of view. You can go way back to early in the morning, but we'll see if it taps against this or just completely ignores it right now. Again, I don't know. I'm not sure if we're going to have this end of day pull back to the 23.6 or not. We're going to have to be patient and just wait it out. In the meantime, when we look at the other stock index futures, this is the S&P. Sorry, I don't have my label properly centered. So folks are like, what are you looking at? This is the S&P 500. Let's go to the micro NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ 100 stock index futures. Same picture. It's the same picture, really. However, this market does have more of a capability to get a little volatile. Candles have the ability to get a little bigger. There's an example of that. But we still have the same series of higher lows and higher highs right here. So again, I think we got to wait for this next candle, which is going to be in a minute and 38 seconds. I got my timer on the lower right, kind of using the NinjaTrader trading platform. Dow is starting to turn the corner now. Let me adjust this here. And this could be the market we're really looking for. And again, I'm not so much looking to go short to see if we can make new lows. I'm looking the opposite. I want to see some kind of pullback, maybe the 23.6 is an opportunity to get in or to get long right there. You see the top of the value area is right there. It's another area of interest. CCI is kind of just, I don't know, it's not doing a lot, just kind of sitting there. Moving average cross is, I don't know, maybe trying to touch, but that's just a peak, right? It's probably 40 points apart. So from a candle structure point of view, I'm still bullish for sure. Even though we had the 1, 2, 3 two dominant candles here, we had immediate correction on those dominant candles on the upside. So I'm going to go ahead and throw something in right between the top of the value area and the 23.6% retracement. And we're going to wait and be patient. All right. This one has more of a chance, I think, to percolate. Russell, at the end of the day, I think the Russell's out of gas, low volume, right at that top of the value area. Just going to kind of watch it here. We got about 17 more seconds left before we're declaring last call. Let's give it 10 more seconds. And we're, there's some Spanish stuff going on here. Sorry. So level 2 asks, hang on, here we go. We're in that last 30-minute last close period. Remember, we got 30 more minutes left. So the regular trading hours are over for the underlying cash market, which includes, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and all those, stock traders, stock option traders, and everything changes in that world. Doesn't change here for another hour after that, but we're going to focus on this last half hour for sure. So level 2 asked, do I ever use a bid-ask chart? Yeah, I mean, so there's a thing called number bars where you can get bid-ask. I think if this is what you're talking about, level 2, bid-ask data in kind of a number bar formation. And it's fascinating, really deep level of data, but it was too difficult for me to try to figure out how to make heads or tails of it. I know there's order flow traders that love the bid and ask. In a market like the NQ though, I don't have a let's get one. What's added here? Let's throw it up here. This is a trading ladder. You can see the bids and asks. It's a little bit different than I think what level 2 is asking about right now. For sure. I do believe there is a heat map version. There's for sure a heat map plugin, 100%. I'm 100% sure of that. How to do a heat map here. And again, that's an area of kind of really good granular technical data that I always find a hard time dealing with. But yeah, there's a way to do it in NinjaTrader, and I'll do some research and give you the least path of resistance to our next meeting, level 2. But thank you for that. All right, making new highs here in the NASDAQ. Let's see if our trade idea is doing anything. If we have any wonder involved. Remember, I decided I don't want to, I want to be below the top of the value area, 766, right? It's about 20 points away. And I wanted to be above the 23.6. Why? I'm just averaging pretty much visually 2 areas of interest that seem to be right there in my face, right? These are 2 areas of interest. I like to accumulate areas of interest to give me a more sense of entry, where buyers and sellers are thinking about in terms of going long and going short. Remember, me and you, we're not the only ones looking at this chart. There's a whole bunch of folks that have drawn the fib line the same way. There's a whole bunch of traders that are watching the volume profile and see where the point of control is and see where the top of the value area is. It's not just me coming up with some science that nobody else knows about. This is a lot of the reason why many of these areas of interest work, because everyone's using them, right? Everyone's on it. So in any event, that's just my my train of thought right there in that particular one. All right, let's kind of move over again and see what happened. I do want to leap over to the bond trade. I know it's over, but I do want to take a peek at it. We have a lot of time here while this kind of percolates and make some decisions. Oopsie, there we go. So interestingly enough, and I'm going to analyze this to death tonight before I go to bed, because it made a lot of sense to me when I did it, and I didn't wait for the event to start. I just jumped right in. That's where we were short from, and now we have a tail down here, and I'm really interested. Right today, this session, I'm really interested, and I'm going to draw an ellipse down here of these icicle wicks down here at the bottom. Someone trademark that for me, icicle wicks. I like it. And it's you see all these like really low dangling. Can I not draw an ellipse here, guys? There we go. See how they kind of dangle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It reminds me of 2 houses ago when we decorate for Christmas. I don't know how to decorate for Christmas here because there's not going to be any snow, by the way. But up north, you'd put those those icicle kind of lights that would kind of come from the gutter and float down. That's what it reminds me of. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to include that little one, 5. A lot of times this acts like a target. That's why I have it circled. That's why I have it highlighted. I don't know if we can get down here today. I don't know if we can get to that minus 161. That's another thing I'm really interested in, is that fib number today and tonight. In any event, very, very interesting times in the complex today. I think that the curve kind of steepened out a little bit. Here we have yields. Okay, forget about yields. Yields are inversely related. Here's our prices, right? So the 3-year and the 2-year that are kind of in the green. And then the 5, the 10, the 20, in the ultra bonds, they're all in the red. In other words, their prices went down, these prices went up, and it's the inverse is true of the yield, right? The longer maturities, the yield went up, and the slower ones went down. So that's kind of interesting to take a peek at that. on the actual just scoreboard, just kind of market analyzer. Just take a look at it. So again, this whole idea of recession, I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing or not. All right, let's move off of this one. I do want to look at RTY one more time, right at the top of the value area. Very interesting for sure. Not a lot of movement on the RTY. And right now, yeah, you could draw a really nice rectangle at the bottom. We'll do that. I just feel like this is kind of a weak link. I'm not going to shoot a trade in here, but if I were, this rectangle here would be nice. This low wick would be a target. And the idea here is, hey, since the point of control is so high, the top of the value area is so high, R1's right there, you know, the high of the day is right here. This rectangle is holding up pretty nicely. We're going to do it anyway. What the heck? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick off the low of that. I'm going to be one tick above the low of this candle here. This candle, hammer looking candle, 1440, which, let me do my math. That's a 230 to 240 bar. Let's go ahead and just get that in there. I'm just be one tick above it and throw that in as a trade idea. And just for now, I'm going to use VWAP as a stop. We'll probably change it a little bit, but I like the fact that VWAP is a few ticks below a couple of other points, which I will point out in a minute right here. This bottom right here, little mini rectangle right here. Let's see if F2 key works. I'm going to hit it. It did. No, that was the line tool, Jim. You're getting your Fs mixed up. What is the rectangle? F12. That's way over the other side of the keyboard. All right, here we go. F12. This was also a short-term area of support, guys, right there. And of course, I just cannot draw a rectangle anymore. This is when I need to like just focus. There we go. All right. So that's, again, that's where my stop is, right in there. Area support, area support. Let's see if we get a little bit of volatility or a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of wiggle. This market's all buyers coming at the end. NASDAQ 100, all buyers coming in right now, 337. We still have another 2 minutes and 22 seconds left before we get to the next. Remember, there's only, after this bar, 10-minute bar, there's only 2 more in regular trading hours. So, or in what I'm calling last call right now. And we call it last call for a reason. I mean, it's not literally, you know, in my opinion, to initiate a trade after regular trading hours are over, for that last hour in the equity markets requires special circumstances. I don't think we have special circumstances today. Earnings announcements, something else that's going to happen, that's going to cause price dislocation, and then you want to participate, or you can participate in it as well. So, but I think today should be a relatively normal day, unless I'm missing something for sure. As we go, Elizabeth is sitting on her hands. I think that's probably okay here in this particular case. Go back to the ES. We have not a higher high yet, close, but we have a lower low. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of an interesting phenomenon. We'll kind of see where that goes. My rectangle seems like it's fading away. It seems like it's too far away. And if you wanted to be tighter about it, you could kind of move it up to here, but I don't. I'm going to leave it where it is. Man, it's conservative, right? Don't get a fill. We don't get a fill. It's okay. It's A-okay. It's the second best thing that could happen to you, right? You get a fill and it's a winner. You don't get a fill, neutral. You get a fill, it's a loser. It's okay. Second, there's always another opportunity, another day, another event. You know, as a commodity broker for 20 years, we had all sorts of folks calling, trying to pressure the new accounts department to open their account quick. I don't want to miss this trade. It's going to cost me thousands of dollars. You got to open this account right now. No, that's a flag on the field, folks. There's going to be another opportunity the next day, the next day, the next day. You're not going to miss out. It's okay. Just relax. This is what I'm talking about. Patience, patience, patience. NQ, same behavior. So we didn't get a fill here. Let's kind of revisit this trade idea. This is the E-mini Dow futures we're looking at, right? Blue chip stack. It's been pretty strong from a daily chart point of view. And we'll take a look at a daily point in just a minute or so. But we have a new candle right now. Buyers coming in. We didn't get the retracement down that I hoped for. And we didn't even get to the top of the value area. So I'm going to leave this in though for a little bit longer, for at least 5 more minutes, because I'm thinking the 3:45 time period, corresponds with the closing of a 15-minute chart, as an example. We'll see if we get any kind of movement there as well. All right. Andromeda says, it sounds like I'm talking about over there, count fast. I know it's a thing, and I understand the excitement. I do understand the excitement. New trader wants to get involved, wants to jump right in, see something that nobody else in the world's ever seen, right? Has got this, maybe he's been sim trading for a while. And that's an emotional response to the excitement and the optimism associated with anything, right? So something's coming up, you want to do it, you want to go. And it's physiological. It's something you want to happen right now. And you have all these drivers chemically going on in your head to kind of do that. The toughest part of this is, hey, say, no, you know what? I'm going to take my time. All good things are going to come eventually. Let's be patient and see how it all goes. All right. So we've talked about that a lot. I'm going to shoot over here to the Euro FX. Let's kind of analyze what happened there. This is a currency pair. I have the word Forex in parentheses. It's not really Forex. Forex stands for foreign exchange, right? That's kind of a generic word for foreign exchange, Forex. There's a cash market, just like there's the cash equity market, right? There's an underlying over-the-counter market. You could trade with a broker, and currency pairs have been around forever. And trading currencies and investing in currencies have been around forever. And it's typically two sovereign currencies versus each other. And there's a price differential. And usually it's based on interest rates and other factors on both sides of the equation. And here the Euro FX futures versus the US dollar is what we're looking at. And I have my fib line from earlier this morning. I haven't even bothered to move it. So I'm just going to move it over and kind of take a peek right here. In the Euro FX, again, this is a function of the Eurozone, right? We used to have a whole bunch of different currencies in the Eurozone: French franc, Belgian franc, it goes on and on. The lira, the drachma, that was German, that was fun. A couple other francs, I think. I forgot what the Austrian dollar. But in any event, a couple reasons why this is good to trade. Number one, it's a 23-hour marketplace. Number two, there's only one place these trades go. This is to the Eurex exchange, right? There's not a bunch of different dealing desks making up a bid-ask spread and pricing for you like you see in the cash market. So you're fair. It's a fair process. Buyers and sellers are determining the price here, and it goes to one place. You're not trading with a separate liquidity pool that's bifurcated from some other place where you might have different pricing altogether in the same instrument. So again, this, in my opinion, that's another big one. There's no carry interest if you're holding positions overnight. You don't have to pay that carry interest that you do in the cash thing. There's no 3 to 5 day settlement like you do in the cash market. You liquidate your position, your margin's good to make another trade immediately. So it's kind of a different thing. Elizabeth says, good to go to Europe. Thank you, Kaz. Good to go to Europe. So right now, what's the trading at? It's, think about exchange rate. If you haven't traded currencies before, think about exchange rate, 1.10. Euro has been breaking all day, right? Which means the US dollar is getting stronger. The US dollar, each dollar could buy more euros. So it's breaking down today. Pretty good. We'll take a look at a daily chart in a couple minutes here. What time do we have? We have plenty of time. I got 40 seconds left for that last candle to kind of do something. That 15-minute candle that I'm not looking at. ES is up 30, NQ 275. I'm just kind of keeping my eye on it. Even the pan-European or the pan-European Euro Stock 50 stock index futures from Frankfurt, Germany, right? This is the Eurex exchanges. This is the futures, a nice futures to trade. Up 42. The DAX is all German companies, up 95. So a lot of green across the board for sure. Dollar's looking weaker. Dollar's looking stronger on the dollar index, right? It's up 0.355. And it's also looking stronger on the 6E and the yen, right? This is the Japanese yen. Some of the other ones kind of have a different story to it. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag on the currencies. Crude oil up 4 bucks today. I think we settled around here, if my memory serves me right. Crude oil settled for 103.28, right? 103.28 or 103.62. So about 30 ticks away, pretty close. In any event, here I would not be looking to buy. This is all sellers all the time. End of the day, it's kind of exhausted. Probably remember the other side of the euro trade is actually Europe itself, which is winding down, right? It's evening, late evening in Europe. All right, we have that last 45, 15-minute candle. Let's go over to the YM. Oh, look at that. We got it. All right, so we're in one contract here. All right, so this is part of the patience, right? I mean, wasn't, and I diverted myself by talking about something else. That's a good trick, by the way. Just divert yourself. Now, I want to get a target in here right now. I want to look and see what's reasonable. I'm going to draw a rectangle really fast and get it in. Remember, this is $5 a tick. And here's where my rectangle is. And again, this was yesterday's high. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to split the difference on those candles up there. And I'm going to throw a target in to sell one. Now, from stop loss, here's the tricky part. The buyers are coming in right now, but I don't want to be too far away just in case we do have one of those end of day deals. So I'm going to go ahead and split the difference between the 23 and the 38, but I'm going to be way north of that point of control because it's just too far down. And I'm going to respect this lower wick here, which is okay. So I'm going to probably be somewhere around here. We'll be more scientific in a second, but let's go ahead and get it in. So it's important you get your trades in right now. And as a matter of fact, this has gone our way so nicely. I'm going to go ahead and just move it to break even plus a tick now that I think about it. So now we kind of have this. I would never say we have a free trade because nothing's free, but we do have an opportunity now to maybe have a realistic target that we put in place, right? A realistic target, 805. All the stock indices are buying at the close. And then the stop is already, I haven't trailed it yet. The stop is already above where we entered. So far, so good. We'll see what happens here. We'll have another 2 minutes and 38 seconds until we get a new candle. Then we could talk about trailing our stop again. David says, I want to trade with limit orders exclusively, but I can't figure out how I can only do break in retests. Let me try to understand that, David, a little bit better. So limit orders, I'm going to enter on a limit order, right? So that's kind of my thing, right? I want to enter on a limit order. And then with the stop, stop loss or stop limit order is a way to go if you want to get out of a trade. And then, oh, there we go. And then my target's a limit order like we just got. All right. So, but I'm trying to understand the part about how I can only do break in retests, but I can't figure out how I could only do break and retest. So give me a little bit more info to go on there. And sorry, I'm not getting it. I'm going to cancel the stop, by the way, because we're done with that. But I do want to kind of watch the price action here, and I'm going to put my markers on. I'm going to go ahead and put my markers on. Let's go to data series. Let's go all the way down, and I just want to put my markers on here. And let's kind of do some post-trade analysis. Let's see, was our exit good? Should we have tried to get it? Been more patient? Did we get out too quickly? I think that the entry was good for sure. But now, do we trail too fast? Should we have target a brand new high, right? And we've been talking smack about, hey, we got all buyers coming in at the very end. And you look at the ES as an example. Let's just chickle over there. Similar pattern here, and this bar we made a new high. It's amazing. We got 47 seconds left. Let's just focus over here on the Dow Jones here for 42 seconds. I'm very interested in how to handle that. So 25 seconds. Be patient here, guys. Let's just see. We're right where we entered. Will my rectangle hold, right? I only have 1-2 bars here worth of data, right? This is not really, a long-standing area of resistance, to be honest with you. But let's see what happens here. I'm not going to move my rectangle until this bar closes. We got 3 seconds. We got 2 seconds. It is officially closed. And look at that. Buyers came in. Holy cow. Look at that. Right in that last 10 minutes, did you see that candle? You see the price action shoot up? And look at the high we made. Look at the high we made. So I have mixed feelings about this, right? And so one feeling is this. One feeling is, hey, Jim, why wasn't this the target? Remember, you always love to say, I like to target these kind of outlying wicks, and I do. And, in our strategy here, we could have been a little bit south of that and maybe been okay. But the other part of that equation is pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Thank you, MP. But again, it wasn't what so I'm going to just, I'm sorry, I'm going to comment on this. Your entry on the Dow was a beauty. Well, but remember what I did, right? I just took a couple of areas of interest and, I kind of just like averaged the distance. Now the fib line has moved since I moved my fib target up, but literally that's all we did, right? We just kind of took a couple of areas of interest, split the difference, like, hey, let's wait, let's be patient and see if we can get it based on the natural volatility that we see in these markets all the time. So it's a thing. It's been working for us in the morning, more or less, not always. Sometimes we take it on the chin, but that happens no matter what, no matter how long you've been doing it. You get pain. You will have pain no matter how long you're doing it. But the idea is to have it to have a controlled situation where you have some general rules and you could identify support and resistance and use some of your tools. Let's just see what happened to that CCI trend line. It did break right now. So here's the problem with these delayed, this is kind of a delayed indicator, right? It doesn't tell you what's happening forward. It's using data from behind to kind of make the calculation work, right? So it's a little bit in arrears here. And you really don't have a confirmation here until this candle closes. So that's the trouble with just going with lagging indicators, that cross lines like that. Once we get the next candle, even though it's the end of the day here, so it's probably not gonna, if this were in the middle of the day or early in the morning, then we'd be like, all right, this is legit. This actually happened. We have confirmation. So it's a little bit of an art and a little bit of a science. And when you have confirmation on a line break like that. All right. Let's just kind of see. My guess is all the stock index futures buyers are coming in again. This is amazing. We have 7 minutes left. More buyers coming in. We're not quite, we're far away from that 4,600 magical number, but now that we're, closing around over 45.70, the way it looks, it's going to be on my radar screen tomorrow if this behavior continues, for sure. I mean, we're still 25 ticks away, handles away, but in the blink of an eye in this market, that's a nothing burger, right? Let's go over and pick up the top. All right. Last chance to take a look at NASI right at the top of the value area here, point of control very high. That's something to consider when you see this behavior like this. We had all day long to degenerate, to develop a point of control, and it ended up way up here. And we haven't traded up here. We haven't traded up here since this first candle, 1130 to 1140 bar, finally traded at the point of control. So we had all of this stuff this morning that you could almost like get an eraser and erase it, and you'd still have the same point of control, right? Because this is where the volume came in. We had a competing point of control here for a little while, and then a competing point of control early morning for a little while. But at the end of the day, this afternoon, this has been top dominated. All the news has been assimilated more or less. There hasn't been any surprises as far as I'm aware of. There's no weird economic releases that are released this late in the day. And so this is telling me that buyers have taken control of this market this afternoon and aren't letting go, even though it's low volume. Look at this. The ES has only done 861,000. The micro NASDAQ, which oftentimes is the leader of the pack of all the stock index futures, micros or otherwise, is 744,000. So that's interesting. Low volume day, buying on a low volume day. We'll see how this pattern continues the rest of the week. It should make for some interesting rest of the week. We got 5 more minutes left for this last particular candle to complete, and then we're out of that regular trading hour or last call segment. I'm just going to shoot over to bonds real fast, see what happened here. All right, well, that was kind of a lucky entry too. Buyers did come back in here. We're still below the value area, right? We're still below the value area. It's where my crosshairs is. And if let's just see if there's a competing value. Yeah, so this is kind of jaggedy. Again, not a really good profile. Point of control up here, 149.02. 148.27 is another one, which I guess is the second. No, not even. There's a second biggest way up here. But I think really on the day, the dominant candle was right here, 9:50 to 10 o'clock. These two candles don't count. They were equal and opposite candles. They cancel each other out. It sounds exactly like I'm saying it. This big candle here was dominant until it wasn't, which is on the very next 10-minute period. And it was an equal, they're called equal and opposites. I don't know if that's in any textbook. I learned that term, by the way, from Dan Gramza, who is, in my opinion, one of the better, if not the best, candlestick analysis dudes there is. He's up there with Steve Neeson, if not better. But Dan taught me that equal and opposite, they cancel each other out. And then what happens? Well, anything could have happened, but we had continuation buying coming in. But this candle here became dominant at 9:50 to 10 o'clock. And that thing just kind of said, hey, this is going to be a down day. We're going to stay down. And that's kind of what we're tracking right now. That's kind of what we're tracking right now. So that was kind of an interesting kind of look and feel. So retest, again, the retest from consolidation area, again, I mean, this was a retest from a consolidation area. Look at the consolidation we have right here from 12 all the way till 240, right? Everything's kind of clustered in here. And again, I mean, I'm entering on a limit orders around it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not looking for a breakout, which is a thing, but I'm not a breakout guy or anything like that. All right, let's kind of get off of bonds. Let's do a final kind of peek at gold. We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, and we'll end up on the stock index futures. Decent value area right here. Point of control, we're pretty close to. Buyers coming in at the end of the day a little bit. Let's just take a look at how big that candle is, because this chart might be a little deceiving. I'm going to go ahead and put my crosshairs on and push my roll around, and I am going to go high to low. This was a $2.30 candle. If we were trading a large gold contract, that's, plus a couple $100, and a micro is a lot less. This is kind of a small move, but again, it's not marking a trend or anything. So I'm not thinking that there's importance to any green candle right now in gold. And on the day, we are up $13 on gold. So we're going to take a look at the daily chart here in a minute and 37 seconds. Right after we comment on crude oil, buyers are coming in strong. This is going to be very interesting. Remember, we had that channel in crude oil, which we'll see if it's challenged or not. Probably isn't. We're probably still in the middle of the channel on the daily, but we'll go ahead and peek at that. Up $4, 428. That's a decent move up in gold for sure. Nice retracement down here at the middle of the day. Then buyers took over again and we're driving up toward the high at the end of the day. Very interesting, very unsystematic, right? I mean, with equities driving up as high as they are, you would think that crude would be a different story. Gold would be a different story, but they're not. So a lot of non-systematic activity going on right here. We got 51 seconds left. We will add it right here. Look at that. Buyers are just really, really strong here. I mean, there's no place to get short right now in the S&P. We got 35 seconds left. This is going to drive it all the way into the last 30 seconds. So we hit all up to 900,000 in volume. We're still less than a million though. I don't think we're going to get there. As a matter of fact, there's no way we're going to get there. We got 20 seconds left. Let's see how this thing ends. Up 38 points since yesterday. Almost 39. It wants to go. There you go. 39. We have a 39 and still going. 5 seconds left. 4 seconds left. End of this candle now. There we go. And buyers are still coming in. It's amazing. Very interesting. I'm writing this down on my notepad as well. All right, let's take a look at the daily charts here. on the daily charts. Let me see if I can find my daily chart. Here we go. Yes. Start with the S&P. Commitment of traders was slightly less, right? So net long positions on commitment traders last Friday, we didn't talk about this yet, was only 105,000. I have my crosshairs. Remember, it's a delayed report, right? It's a delayed report. So that was kind of interesting. And secondly, low volume day. It's also kind of interesting. Let me move this stuff down a little bit. Down a little bit. Kind of look at what we have going on here. Strong rally, 2 or 3 days worth of now, forget about it. And now we're pushing back up again, right up to that line there should be 4,600. It is. I just can't get my mouse to wiggle right. That is a psychological number that we're interested in. 61.8%. We're way above it, right? We broke above it for the second time, the third time actually, but we've closed above it 4 times. 5 times. What am I talking about here? Let's just kind of go here. We closed above it here. We closed at it here, above it here, above it here. We closed above it here. We closed at it. We closed above it. We closed above it. So now we're kind of getting some sideways action here, which I didn't notice before, which is very interesting. So I'm going to draw a channel really quickly here while we're talking out loud, because I just noticed it and I don't want to forget it. And it's okay, because when I save my charts, it'll memorize the channel. So I'm just going to go here. I'll go to the bottom of that candle right there, try to be as flat as I could, and then go ahead and just add my channel, my sideways channel. And that is a very interesting area of interest right there for sure. So we'll see if we break up or break out. Now we got to think about it, but I'm probably more bullish than bearish right now, given the circumstance of what this chart looks like. From a long-term point of view, we're not, we're nowhere near the 100, right? 4,800 and 4,806. Still a long way to go to get there, but we'll see if we stay sideways or not. It'd be very, very interesting. MNQ, similar, little weaker. We are approaching though the top of the fib line here, my inside fib line, which roughly corresponds to just slightly south of the 61.8%. So we'll see if we can sustain momentum here. These two charts are looking the same, right? It's very systematic. Russell's a little bit weaker. Russell is going to be weaker. Small cap stocks are going to be weaker in this environment until all this dust settles with inflation and interest rates. It's going to look like this. Although we have a nice candle. We're back into that other range we drew. That other range we do. It used to be orange. Now it's blue. Anyway, we'll see if we could stay up in there. And then Dow is looking really strong. It's still not to the 61.8 like we are in the ES, but it is looking really strong. This is a lot of buyers came in yesterday, but then today, look at this particular structure of the candle. I like it because the body of the candle is solid, right? It's like 50%, maybe a little less than 50% of the total high to low. And all the wick actions on the bottom, all the buyers are on the bottom, pushing this back up. And no, there's not a lot of resistance here. Sellers are like, okay, forget it. We're going to step out of the way and let this thing roll. So again, probably bullish tomorrow. We'll see what happens tonight. Gold, is right in my channel like we talked about. Again, this is a daily channel, and we're going to rely on this tomorrow morning to kind of identify bias, right? So when I think about my bias in, what's the trend of the market? What's more likely to happen? Is the trend your friend, or are we looking for counter trend trades? And typically the counter trend trade freaks me out. I don't like it. We don't look at it. So gold is kind of in this channel right now, right above the 50% and sideways. So I'm open-minded. We can go short, we can go long. Crude oil, I don't know what to make of this. I got to read up about it today, but I'm surprised that we have buyers coming in, and maybe again we're settling in a range between 100 and 105 or something like that. I don't know. We're still south of the 61.8%. So I still feel like we should still be bearish here in this particular market. Gasoline futures are just following suit. Nothing really to talk about too much. Micro Bitcoin on the other hand, I really want to love it. I really want to learn to love micro Bitcoin and be able to trade it on a regular basis. We're getting close to that area. We're getting a little volume here and there coming into this particular market. It's a relatively new futures market, by the way. I know Bitcoin's been around for a lot longer, but this one's relatively new. And that's why the volume is yet to really kind of take too much of a pace up. But right now, again, I think we're in a little bit of a bull run here. At 23.6 is going to be a test. If we could hold it, that would be awesome. It's at 45.034 for sure. Bonds, we know I'm negative. I want to see us break into that channel. I'm mega negative right now, mega bear in bonds. I'm going to be looking for places to sell going forward here, even though the yield curve is a little bit whacked out. Huge reversal. You're off X. We had this fight back up to the 50%. This is a perfect textbook retracement. So if you pick up a textbook on Fibonacci retracements, we hit the low. We'd kind of fought our way back up to 38.2%, take a photo, kind of came back down, tried to get back up to 50%, couldn't, broke back down, got up to 50% finally, and then the bottom fell out. This is really a classic Fibonacci picture, and the textbook's going to tell you exactly what to do when you see this scenario. We're past it right now. The horse is out of the barn, or a cat is out of the bag. I'm not sure which one is the right one to mention. But that's what I'm thinking about that. Dollar index is looking strong again, but again, range bound between my two ranges. Let's pick this up so we can get close to the next thing and talk about what to look for going forward here. Russian ruble. Well, we had a dent in the Russian ruble today. Interesting. I didn't recognize. I'm going to just extend my fib line up a little bit higher, my channel a little bit higher, kind of breaking out a little bit. I know it's a very rudimentary channel I drew, but breaking out, going back down to the 61.8%. So I'm going to be a little bit cautious here on my bullish stance on the ruble. Lastly, copper's trying to make new highs. I got a couple of fib lines. I got a mini fib line and a bigger fib line. In between here, we'll see if we can get over that 61.8%, 4.82. If we can, maybe we'll be full time for copper futures. And lastly, wheat. Kind of consolidating, not doing anything exciting. Thank goodness, right? All right, so that's kind of looking at the daily bigger picture. If you want to do a weekly, you could do a weekly with NinjaTrader. You could do a monthly. I know a lot of people like to see monthly, weekly, daily, 30-minute, 4 different charts right there on your screen. Easy to do for sure. Okay, so David, going back to your question and your new comment, I've been stuck on this for 3 months, how to prevent getting chopped up, stopped out on a smaller time frame when trying multiple time frame analysis. Okay, so yeah, I mean, so our shtick, my shtick is, my methodology is in the morning, establish bias on a daily chart, then trade off the 10-minute. Now, that could translate into a 5-minute for you, or 10 or a 15-minute for you, or a 30-minute for you, or whatever. But I'm looking at that 10-minute chart, and depending on the volatility, whatever the paradigm of the volatility is, sometimes it's better to do the micro futures, because then you could give yourself more room. For instance, you could place your stop further and still have that risk tolerance to kind of survive and feel good about the trade. You could scale in and you could buy a second unit lower or sell a second unit higher. Again, give yourself some more breath, some more room to move on that for sure. But multi-time, when you're looking at a lot of different things, whether it's multi-time frame or maybe you have tick charts, and then you have Renko bars, and then you have regular candles, and then you're looking at tick and trend. Sometimes it's too much information, and then you try to develop kind of some rules and some guidelines in which to participate. It's too much. It's too much. I'm already way too complicated, I think, in the way where we've evolved together in this event. I mean, we have a lot of stuff in there I never looked at before. Pivots. I'm not usually a pivot guy, but we threw it in because someone asked. VWAP. I wasn't usually a VWAP guy, but we threw it in. So when you start throwing things in a little bit at a time, do it after you have a long amount of muscle memory, in my opinion. I don't know. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, David, but that's what I'm thinking. Let's kind of look forward here. I've lost completely track of the time. We're not going to get kicked out, are we? No, we're in good shape. Let's talk about what the futures hold here. And then Mark, if you could throw in the Econo Day. This is the one that I forgot to put in the cheat sheet. I had to send you by Skype, the Econo Day calendar. Let's just take a peek and see what to look forward to here. going forward. This is Econo Day, econoday.com. I have the U.S. Information up. Tomorrow morning, international trade in goods and services. It has a red star. That's 8:30, an hour before the open, the cash open. PMI composite final is probably pretty important. We're going to keep an eye on that. Purchasing managers index. There's a whole bunch of purchasing managers, and there's a whole bunch of PMI kind of numbers that all the countries put out are interesting. Neil is from Minnesota, is speaking, Fed president, chairman at 10 o'clock. ISM services then at 10 a.m. A couple of routine bill announcements coming out. I'm not really tracking that. Although the one thing you could look at is from a bill announcement is how quickly, we went from a 4-week bill at 0% to, I think we're at 63 basis points now or something like that this calendar year. So even this very tiny end of the yield curve is moving from a base point of view. It's a lot. A couple more Fed speakers tomorrow, a lot of Fed activity. They're going to keep continuing coming out of the woodwork and telling us what's on their minds as things change. And pretty much the other thing on Wednesday, we'll talk more about this tomorrow, FOMC minutes are right there. They're totally staring at us. And, I don't know if you read them or if anybody reads them. If there's somebody reads them, consolidates them and tweets them, but it's interesting to look behind the scenes because you get a little peek behind the scenes when you read those. And if you're bored, I wouldn't, it's okay to do. You could read it. It'll be all right. All right. So enough of that. Oh, and one more thing. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. Really greatly appreciate that on the YouTube channel. Mark, also, if you could throw in the events link in there. We're going to keep going forward every morning, 9:10 a.m. East Coast time, and then 3:15 we do this one again, East Coast time, 3:15 p.m. Thank you, Mark, for that. Very awesome. And that's the main thing, man. Stay on your toes. Hopefully we're going to hear this word ceasefire soon. Hopefully, we pray we are. But again, anything could happen on any given Sunday. Just be really, really careful. For those of you who weren't here, I am going to give another shout out. NCAA Division I champ, women's basketball, University of South Carolina. Congratulations, ladies. You were dominant, not even close, dominant over number 2 UConn, who's pretty darn good, by the way. Any event, that's it. Thanks for all the thanks. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the thumbs up for sure. We're going to have fun tomorrow as well and keep moving forward here. Finally, let me leave you with this important message. Be safe out there and be good to each other. Thank you.